Hey everybody, it's Rochelle here. I know that I haven't really been filming. It's not really haven't. I haven't filmed in about 7 to 8 months. I haven't done makeup. I just been dealing with a lot, and I want to come to you guys today and kind of talk while I'm doing a project for my kids' room, and get you guys updated on what's been going on. Okay, so what I was saying is just where I've been at and how I've been doing, and I kind of want to talk to you guys. I'm making a cloud for my kids' room, and I have the time to sit and film. So basically, what's been going on is I'm going through a kind of a rough patch. I was in a relationship for 5 years, and I love my wife with everything in me, and I would never speak like bad on her, and I would never want you guys to speak bad on her. But we were going through some rough times where our relationship did get violent, and due to the violence, we decided that we were going to separate. Well, it wasn't only the violence; it was a couple other things, and we weren't. I wasn't mentally and emotionally there anymore. Like I would be like going through the stages of the marriage because I'm like, okay, I know I love her with everything in me, but something's not there. Like the trust, I was more feared her than I was like wanting to be with her. Like it was like, okay, like she might actually really hurt me. And so around May she left, and when she left it was kind of like still hard for me because that was my whole world. Like other than my two kids, like she is who kept me going. Like she's who kept this YouTube channel going because she's who inspired me and pushed me to follow all of my dreams. And even if it was something so silly as, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel, hey, I want to do makeup, she told me I can do it. But that's not an excuse for violence. And I've been in domestic violence relationships again before. And so to see it in someone that knew what was going on and knew how it affected me, it kind of shocked me. And like I said, I love her and I will still love her even if we never get back together. Not saying that you can excuse violence, like you can't excuse that someone puts their hands on you. Um, but there was one incident that kind of shook it for me, and it was when, for no reason at all, she started to choke me in our old house. And she kind of just wasn't there anymore, and there's no soul. It wasn't her. And that is what scared me the most. The fact that she can black out and do something so horrible. Like, she was just choking me, and I'm on the phone with my mom, and she's choking me, and I'm just like, we both walked away that day. Like, I went and hung out with some friends, and she went for a walk, and even though she was choking me, and even though everything that was happening, everything that was going on, like I still felt like it was my fault. And I know it's not my fault, but I still felt like I did something wrong. And I'm like, I did nothing. I go to work, I come home, I cook, I clean. She never had to lift anything. Like, all I asked her to do every once in a while was to bring her dishes down, to do the dishes if I'm at work and I'm tired, like to walk the dog, or to clean up, like little stuff. But then as I everything she want, and in the process of giving her everything she want, I lost who I was. And now it's what, 7 8 months, and I'm finally able to sit back and look at myself and be like, okay, I'm finding who I am again. I'm finding out that I really don't like certain things in a relationship. I mean, yeah, I know I can control some stuff because, like I don't know. Like, somewhere along the lines, we changed. Somewhere along the lines of 5 years, we changed. Somewhere along the lines of love and hate happened. Um, I can say that I love her still to this day. I still talk to her. Well, as of recently, we don't talk, but we kept in communications. Like I said, we do have 2 children together. Um, but it was hard for me to accept the fact that this happened to someone that was so sweet, and I can't believe, like, I'm like, oh my god, like, she put her hands on me, you know? Like, yeah, I do some stupid shit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, 'cause while everything was going on in my marriage, and while we were kind of failing at the marriage thing, we were still, I don't know, I was happy. I wasn't like not happy with her. I would still look at her every day and be like, God, I have such an amazing person in my life. You know, like, I would still look at her and be like, I don't see myself with anybody else. And to this day, I still don't see myself with anybody else. Like I did say, I'm going to be single for a long time before I get in another relationship. And it's just not because, oh, my marriage failed. It's not because, oh, I had domestic violence. It's not because of all the bullshit we went through. It's because out of respect for myself, I need to relearn, like, who I am. Because who is to love somebody that is so broken that they think that something's gonna go wrong, and it might be perfect. Like, I might fall, sorry, I'll edit that out. It might be perfect. I might fall for somebody else and they be the person that I want them to be. They be the person that I need them to be. I mean, it might even be that my marriage don't fail. We go to counseling. We get past the one incident of domestic violence. Let me make this clear to you guys. I'm not saying that you can forgive someone for putting their hands on you. I'm not saying that you should stay in a relationship that is toxic. I'm not saying that you should allow to be treated like shit and you're a good person. I'm not saying that you should allow anybody, whether you love them, whether you hate them, whether you don't see your life without them, and you've been married for umpteen amount of years, and then they put their hands on you, you are not to allow that. And that's where our marriage took a turn, because so when all this was happening and all this happened, it kind of hurt. Like, I was like, you knew before anybody what I went through. You knew the pain that it caused me. You knew to watch somebody, I would call her, because we were not just like, oh my god, we're in a relationship. No, we were close, like, and we still are close. Like, like I said, I love her to death, and maybe one day we can look past and mend our marriage, but as of right now, we both have growing to do. We're young, we got married young, we have 2 kids, like, so it's not like we're never going to see each other again, and it's not like we're never going to not talk. But like I told her, there's a lot that I've done, and I know that there's a lot that she's done that I can never forgive her for. Well, I'm lying. I can possibly forgive her for. I just haven't. I haven't physically, like, got to that point where I'm like, okay, I can forgive you because I love you. Like, I haven't physically got there, and I think that's because I don't physically know how to forgive her. Even though I love her, I still look at the fact of, you put your hands on me, and then I'm a very independent person, but when she left is a time in my life that I needed her. Time in my life when I was going through a lot and I needed her, and she was nowhere to be found. Nowhere. She went to Florida because her family, like always, would call and say something. So she left to go to Florida and hasn't been back since. May 9th is when last time I seen her face to face. Like, yeah, I FaceTimed her so we can talk, and we did try from a long distance to get the relationship, because like I didn't want my kids to not grow up with the person that they call dad, because I know how that is. Like, I grew up without my father, And I didn't want that to happen to my kids. I wanted them to have their dad in their life by any means possible, even if it means that I forgive the unforgivable, which I learned you can't forgive something that happened. You can work on moving past it, but you're never gonna fully forgive that person, and you're never gonna fully move on. And like I said, I'm learning that, because she was my star, my moon, and everything besides my kids. Like, I lived for her, and I would die for her, in a heartbeat. Just like I would die for Eleanor and Moses. I would die for my wife. I would give my last for her to be happy, and I do wish her happiness, even if I tell her, like, even if we do not work and we do not come back together, I wish you happiness. And this is true, and this is, I can't hate her, because hatred only goes so far, and what am I hating her for? Oh my God, like, yeah, I do sit there, and I went to classes, I take counseling to try to figure out, because like I said, I blame myself. And to this day, like, there is still some part of me that blames myself, and like, what if I would have done this different? What if I would have not have spoken to this person? What if I would have not have, messed up so bad to where someone fell in love with me and I constantly kept in touch with them because it was funny to me? Like, I still question all the what ifs, but I also question the what if she kills me? And I was telling, one of my closest friends the other day, like, my biggest fear, because they asked what was my biggest fear on if, my relationship, my marriage coming back. And it was her killing me. The fact of knowing she can kill me and her killing me. That's what I fear. And that's what holds me back from ever really thinking, like, okay, I'm going to let her come back. Now, when I talk to her, I'm like, oh, you changed and I want my family back. But then I'm just like, after a few times of talking to her, I realized that that's just me wishful thinking. That's just me hoping that something is different and hoping that she wants to change. And over the years, I learned that you can't change anybody that doesn't want to change. You can't force anybody to be the person that you want them if they don't want to be that person. You can't tell somebody, oh my goodness, I'm gonna help you change, if they don't want to make that change within themselves. And it's time that I make that change within myself, because who am I to short my kids? At the end of the day, yeah, you hit me, and yeah, I love you to death, but the fact that you put your hands on me shows me that it doesn't matter about my two young ones. I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I have a little girl, and I have a son, and I do believe that your kids will act out what they see. So I don't want my son growing up thinking that it's okay to hit at a female, whether it's another female hitting their mom or whether it's not. And I don't want my daughter thinking it's okay to be hit on by anybody that you date. So, while my kids did not see what was going on in our relationship, because we did not allow it to happen in front of the kids, they knew something was off between mommy and daddy. Like, they knew something was not right. And even though they ask about her constantly, and they're, where's daddy? When is daddy coming home? My son loves her. My son will always love her. Like, that's who my son looks up to. My son wants to be just like daddy. My son wants to be in the army just like daddy. But I don't want my son to think that it's ever okay to lay your hands on a woman. I don't want my kids to ever see mommy get hit, or mommy stepping on tiptoeing around because she's scared of what's going to happen next. Like, even though I sit here and I say that I will love my family back, I know that right now and where I'm at, in my life, if I don't stand for something, I will fall every time she wants something. Every time she's ready for her family back. Every time she decides that, okay, this is too hard and I want to walk out. And I told her, you leave one more time, you will not come back. And it's taking everything in me to really honestly stay true to that, because like I said, we just stopped talking and I was like, come home. Even though I knew physically I did not want her here, my emotions wants her here. I'm still so emotionally attached to her. I still want to wake up next to her. But I do not want the Tay that I had. I did not want who she turned into. I do not want someone that I fear, and that's where it's at. I fear my own wife. I fear that one day it's not going to be just her choking me, and it's just one time that she choked me. It's not like we had constant violence in our relationship. We may argue, but what relationship doesn't argue? Like, but the one time she did put her hands on me was the one time that that's all it took. That's all it takes. Like, it doesn't take 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, because I've always known they put your hands on you once, they will constantly do it again. Yeah, she promised she's never done it again, and it took a year, and she still haven't done it, but deep down in my head, that's what I look at. Deep down in my heart and my soul, I fear her. I feel that she will snap my neck. My wife is very strong. Like, it's not like she's just one of these little wimpy ass bitches out here. Like, no bitch strikes fear in my heart but her. Not even my own mother. And that's my mother. But I fear my wife will kill me if it ever gets to that point. Like, something in her snapped, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's going to happen again. But I keep myself at a distance because and I kept myself at a distance because of it. And she knew it. She knew that something was off. She would ask me what was wrong. And I wouldn't speak up and say anything because, like I said, I didn't want her to feel like it was her fault. It was my fault. But it's not. It's not my fault that she hit me. Well, she didn't hit me. She choked me. It's not my fault that she choked me. It's not my fault that her attitude is the way it is. It's not my fault that I am who I am. It's not my fault that I did not make her happy. Even though she sat there and she tells me, I make you happy. I mean, you make me happy, and let me put this product to the side so I can talk. Even though she sits there and she tells me that I make her happy and that she doesn't want to see her life without me, it's time that she does. It's time that she sees what she has done. Because, like I said, even though that night we both went our separate ways, she went back to the house, I went out, and I had a drink with one of my friends, and we sat down, and I talked to her about it, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Even though for years he was telling me to leave her because she's younger than me, even though it all, that night is when I emotionally detached from her. And I think I told her about 2 months later, I'm not emotionally there, I'm done trying for this relationship. And she told me she was not done. She was going to continue to fight. And for a while she did, and nothing happened. No effort went through. Like I said, at that point I was done. I feared her. Like, there was no me, there was no her, there was no us. It was, we lived together, we took pictures together, we were happy, but emotionally, I wasn't there. Mentally, I was just going through the motions. Physically, I loved her. Like, my heart loves her. And that's where everybody will think that, oh, follow your heart, follow your heart, follow your heart. And I used to tell her, true love never fails. And if it does, it's not true love. And I'm not gonna say we failed, but we fucked up. And sorry for my language, but we fucked up. And it's not a simple, sweet, cute relationship. It was a violent relationship that we were emotionally abusing each other. Okay. Okay, so let's get off of the whole my marriage situation. We're gonna figure it out. Like I said, true love never fails. I'm not accepting an abusive relationship. And like I told her, if you do want your family home, here are some things that you want to do, that you ought to do. And getting counseling is one of them. Getting counseling individually, and then if we do come back together, getting counseling normally as a couple. Other than that, I've been working. I'm a CNA. I work my ass off. I moved from out of Orange County to a nice little 2-bedroom apartment to really work on me. So that way I'm not just sitting around, you know, with in a house or in a place that I can't physically afford for just on my own. And then what else I've been doing? Just focusing on me, my kids, and getting me help and getting me back right. Focusing on my health, because I'm one that I will take care of my children. I will take care of my wife before I take care of myself. And that's one thing that I'm now forcing the consequences on, because I'm dealing with a lot of sickness, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So I'm just dealing with a lot. I'm going to start coming on and doing videos once I get my vanity set up. And then, but before that, I'm probably just going to sit down and do talks. I'm going to start doing story times, because I do have a couple of juicy stories to tell. I have a couple of them. I also have, you know, my story times what's going on. Story times that has happened over the past several years. Like, I just keep everything in, and I want to now share it out. I want to do a couple of other things. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm a CNA, so I want to start doing like clothing hauls, like for me, my kids, like scrubs, like anything I buy. Do something. I let my hair go, like, even though it's still growing and it's red right now, you don't really see it because of all the lighting everywhere else. My hair's kind of a reddish color. I wanna do a video on a lot of other stuff. So you guys want to see anything makeup wise, talk wise, advice wise? I give good advice. Do I take my advice? No, I don't. But I do give good I do give good advice. Life has been hard on these past couple of months. This past couple of years have been hard for me. But I'm finally at a place in my life where I'm ready to get back out there. Not dating wise. I'm planning on being single for a very long time. I never actually really been single.